Welcome to the Breakup Recovery Podcasts by your host, Barbara Stevens. Discover the wisdom and remarkable insights of Barbara Stevens, breakup recovery mentor, author, and public speaker. Barbara offers programs and solutions for any breakup so you can turn your life around, create lasting changes for the better, and embrace life again.
Hello and welcome to my podcast, Breakup Recovery. This is episode number 001, Gaining Control. I'm Barbara Stevens, and in this episode I'll be talking about the blame game, how blaming others, especially if you are blaming your ex-partner all the time about your relationship breakdown, how this can turn you into a negative person, and when you stay in this negativity, it puts you in a victim mode. Playing the victim affects you on a physical and mental level. I'll be giving you some ideas on how to reframe these unhelpful and damaging thoughts and replace them for more beneficial ones so that you can start your journey of recovery after your breakup. When things go wrong in a relationship, it is very easy to blame the other person. It's so much easier to see faults in your ex-partner and point the finger and accuse them of creating barriers and difficulties so that the separation was inevitable. To admit blame is almost like admitting you are the failure. You are the one at fault for the collapse of the relationship. It is natural to not want to admit to this. Often we don't want to believe we are our own source of pain. Blaming others for all the things that go wrong in our lives comes so naturally. We blame the customers if we are having a bad day at work. We blame our boss for our financial situation. We blame other drivers for making us late for an appointment. We even blame the golf clubs for a bad shot. It seems that it's everybody else's fault for all the bad things that happen in our lives. Some people get emotional satisfaction from talking about how awful other people are and how they have caused them to miss out, not get something, cause them pain and suffering, etc. But this kind of behaviour does not serve you in a positive way. When you are blaming someone else for the things that are going wrong in your life, you are putting yourself in the role of a victim. Playing the victim encourages destructive thoughts and keeps you in a place of powerlessness. Have you ever noticed that you are never happy when you are talking about the things that are going wrong in your life? After a breakup, you can get stuck in this place of bitterness and resentment if you are continually blaming your ex-partner for all the things that are going wrong in your life. Doing this for the long term is not good for your health, and the stress from this can result in long-lasting physical symptoms that can affect your overall health and well-being. These symptoms can include headaches, upset stomachs, high blood pressure, chest pains, and problems with sleeping. When you blame others, you are giving them control over your life, and therefore you are left with little or no power. You are allowing them to be more powerful than you. They are the ones controlling your emotions and keeping you trapped in a negative frame of mind. Think of it this way: when your relationship has come to an end, you have a lot of negative feelings, ranging from hurt, resentment, and bitterness. So when you keep blaming your ex-partner, you are giving them the approval to continue to hurt you every time you think or blame them for your situation. You are giving away your control over your feelings. This negativity starts to take over your life and can affect the way you interact with others. If you've listened to the first episode in my podcast, Breakup Recovery, I talk a little about my story and how easy it would be for me to blame my ex-husband for the entire breakdown of our marriage. Pointing the finger at my ex-husband and thinking it was not my fault is what I did for a long time. And when I kept thinking that my ex-husband was the only one to blame, it kept me in a negative and unhappy place. I blamed him for the breakup, and my thoughts were along the lines of, he remained the exact same man I married all those years ago. I blamed him for not growing with me, not wanting to extend himself, or see things in a completely different light. I then continued thinking of all the things I did not like about him, all the things he did and said that I did not approve of throughout our marriage. I thought this for a very long time. I felt he could have done a lot more to save the marriage. He knew we were both unhappy, but he thought it was good enough for him, so it should be good enough for me. He didn't want to talk about our problems. He would rather brush them under the carpet, unless I made a song and dance about it. Sometimes I had to start an argument just to get a conversation started about our problems. But no amount of blame was going to change my situation. And staying in victim mode would not help me take responsibility for my actions and the part I played in my marriage breakdown. I had to take responsibility and take ownership for the part I played in the breakdown of our marriage. To be honest, it was a hard process for me. As I said before, I was in denial for a very long time, but in the end I found it a lot more peaceful to accept my role in the marriage breakup. I had to let go of playing the victim for my sake, so I could move forward. One of the reasons we blame our ex-partners for our breakup is that we want to be proven to be right. We are taught the significance of being right from a very early age. As children, our parents reward us for the things we do right and scold us when we didn't do the right thing. Being right is ingrained into us all the way through our schooling years. You get top marks when you answer the questions correctly on your tests, and you feel like a failure when you didn't do so well. So being right is part of our culture. Blaming also protects us from feeling bad about ourselves at the expense of the other partner. It helps you to cover up feeling guilty or ashamed for the end of your relationship. You defend your self-esteem by making your ex-partner responsible for the breakdown of the relationship. It inflates your ego. I'm right and they're wrong. Your ex-partner becomes the scapegoat for any personal failure you may be feeling. When you are busy blaming your ex-partner for all the hurt and pain they have caused you, it might help make you feel better about yourself, but it doesn't allow you to look at the situation from a perspective of solving it. It doesn't empower you to make the decisions necessary for you to move forward or take responsibility for the things you can change. And you avoid getting to the core of any problems that have occurred, which may affect any future relationships you may have if you have unresolved issues. If you have been nodding your head in agreement with what I have been saying and find yourself constantly blaming your ex-partner for everything that has gone wrong, I would like you to try this exercise. Think about or write down one of your blaming thoughts that you have been having about your ex-partner. Say, for instance, my blaming thought would be, my ex-husband is totally responsible for the breakdown of our marriage. Yours might be, my partner was never happy, always criticising me and making me feel inadequate. Or, our marriage would have survived if he had not drunk or gambled our hard-earned money away. All these thoughts are blaming the ex-partner. So think about or write down the thoughts that are true for you and your situation. Make no judgment on what you are writing. Just do it as an exercise to see where you're at. You might have one thought, or you may have a number of blame thoughts that come to mind, but let's do one at a time. So once you have the thought, I want you to reframe the blame thought from blaming the other person to take responsibility for your thoughts and reframing them into a positive and more helpful one. For example, of my thought, I shared with you that my ex-husband is totally responsible for the breakdown of our marriage. So to reframe this thought, I would say something like this, that there were two people in this relationship and I cannot give someone else what I do not have. I cannot change the other person. I cannot make them act a certain way, think a certain way. Sure, I can tell them what I think, but only they can change the way they think and act, and I cannot be responsible for their actions. One of the other blaming examples I mentioned previously, that my ex-partner was never happy, always criticising me and making me feel inadequate. We could reframe this to something like, I am in charge of my thoughts and I love the way I am. See how you go and how it makes you feel when you reframe your blame thought into a more positive one. Now, as I've said previously, you can't make another person say or do things. You can, however, change the way you react to what they say and do. Blaming others for your unhappiness is like holding them responsible for your hardship and troubles. How can you begin to feel happy again when you are in that place? When you stop the blame game, you shift the focus from the other person and inwards to yourself. And working on yourself is the only way you are going to be able to move forward. I'm reminded of a quote from Eckhart Tolle. Whenever something negative happens to you, there is a deep lesson concealed within it. I'm of the belief that when things go wrong, there is always a lesson to be learned. And if you do not take on board and learn the lesson, then the lessons keep coming until you do, often with more intensity. I want you to learn from your breakup. I want you to start to build the future you deserve. Even if someone did hurt you, you need to make a decision of letting go of this hurt. We need to learn and move on instead of being stuck in the same situation forever by holding on to blame and all the things they said and did to make you feel unhappy. Now, I'm not saying that you should take all of the blame. Self-blame is not good for you either. Everybody has regrets, and I can think a lot of situations when I said or did things I now regret. There is absolutely no shame in being able to admit to yourself or others that you have made mistakes. No one is perfect, and making slip-ups is part of being human. However, when you do own it, it shows a real strength of character. It's okay to admit that you might have contributed to the breakup of your relationship. Changing your perspective and seeing the breakup with an objective point of view on where you went wrong is how you improve and develop as a person. So go easy on yourself and try and let go of self-judgments. This is not what this episode, The Blame Game, is about. If you continue to doubt your ability to take responsibility for your actions, moving forward in your life will be an effort. I don't want you to feel that in order to move on, it will take a lot of effort. I want you to feel that you are ready to take the necessary actions and make the changes so that you can get over the loss of your relationship. You're the only one responsible for the way you react to your breakup. Your ex-partner may behave in a negative way, but that doesn't mean you have to lower yourself to that level. You have the choice to act differently, and in doing so will be able to focus on what you can do rather than what has already been done and happened. You have the control and the power to change your life. Sure, you might not be able to control everything that happens in your life, but you control how you respond to any situation that comes your way. Dropping the blame game allows the possibility for growth and creates a path for more positive results. Forget blaming and focus on where to go from here. Move forward with confidence. Accept where you are in life and know that anything is possible. I'd like to give you a quote from the late Wayne Dwyer. All blame is a waste of time, no matter how much fault you find with the other. And regardless of how much you blame him, it will not change you. The only thing blame does is to keep the focus off you when you are looking for external reasons to explain your unhappiness or frustration. You may succeed in making another feel guilty about something by blaming him, but you won't succeed in changing whatever it is about you that is making you unhappy. Now, I haven't really touched on some instances when it is okay to place all of the blame squarely on your ex-partner, and those occasions would be when there has been physical and/or emotional abuse occurring in the relationship. At no time is it okay for your ex-partner to manipulate or physically and emotionally abuse you. These actions are their choice and they have to live with them. Don't let their actions ruin your life. I love to use affirmations with my clients, so I'll be sharing a few of them in my upcoming Breakup Recovery podcasts. I use affirmations daily in my own life and find them a powerful tool in changing your thoughts, beliefs, and setting intentions so that you can move forward with your life in a more positive way. So the affirmation that is relevant to this episode, Gaining Control, is I am now ready to release the past with love and move forward with enjoyment and happiness. You can always change these words to suit you. So to recap on this episode, I hope you found this episode 001, Gaining Control, which was mainly about the blame game, helpful, and realise how having the thoughts of blaming your ex-partner for all the things that went wrong in your relationship can keep you in a place of helplessness and negativity. If you stay in this place of pointing the finger at your ex-partner, it will be detrimental to your progress moving forward. It will not allow you to gain the necessary ideas for solving your situation. It's not easy, but stop allowing your ex-partner to keep you in a place of hostility and resentment. I also talked about changing your blame thoughts into more constructive ones, taking responsibility for your part in the relationship breakdown, owning everything that you do, and not making excuses as to why you don't. When you stop placing the blame on your ex, you shift your focus inwards, allowing you to take the power over yourself, to control and create a positive direction. And the last thing I'd like to say is, be gentle on yourself. You deserve happiness.
If you would like to hear previous Breakup Recovery podcasts, visit barbarastevens.com.au. Connect with Barbara Stevens on social media with Barbara Stevens Breakup Recovery Mentor on Facebook and at You'll Be Okay on Twitter. Read further blogs, view webinar replays, and download your free ebook, 3 Easy Steps to Surviving Your Breakup, and much more at barbarastevens.com.au.